I didn't have YouTube up. And go there. Hello, Free.
Hi. Are we?
There we go. And then just doing what little bit of a sure game I can do.
Okay, I should possibly go ahead and.
I am absolutely terrible at the share game. Wentis is better at the share game than I am. Oh,
You better than I am.
more Red Bull, damn it. Yep, not right. All right. Whew.
I don't have anything to share just yet.
Oh, hey, Mama Aquila, how you doing today? She's
Hello.
always here.
I'm
She always
Shantae.
pops on. I think she like sits by her phone, is like, is A10 going live right now? Every 5 minutes she checking. That's how she's always here.
I
Anywho,
love your presence.
and
I
all of a
love
sudden, like 13 humans are here. Holy shit! You guys
already.
are ready for content, yeah? Oh, Deborah, hey.
I don't
So,
see nothing, so you have to tell me.
oh, yeah, you're on a phone, ain't you?
No, I'm on a tablet, but I can't see anybody.
Oh,
So hello,
okay.
uh, Miss Aquila. I heard some of that Billy Jackson that you was telling me about. Y'all was y'all was nasty back then. But I digress. I heard some of it. Hey,
There we go.
same. That's how I don't miss the meetings. Same. Hey,
So,
Mr. Stella.
so Free and I had a little show conversation on Patreon, but Patreon decided to not like some of the stuff that we were doing, so we decided to come back to Facebook or YouTube and start over and go more toward the emotional relationship side of things rather than we're keeping out of the sheets and more on the streets is type of a deal because Patreon, they were giving Mickey some headaches. And love Patreon to death, but apparently being a content creator over there is not the easiest thing in the world. Hey, I've never created content on there before. I was just there for, all my video games and all my groups and, early access to some of my sci-fi goodness.
No comment.
Okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much the introduction to the show. We're a little bit of what we are looking for individually in partners, and then given that we're a little bit more open to some things, I'd be very, very happy, to do. I may look up on Reddit and find relationship problems, and then how you and I would each approach the different sides of those relationship problems, or submitted questions from the 810 family, close and far. I think that'd be rather fun for us to do.
Especially from the married side, and then you got the single side now. So bring it on.
We're both a marriage down. I just
Yeah,
happen to get back up on another one.
I'm working on it. No comment again. But we'll
Yeah,
get there.
I would say stay away from them. Marriages are weird.
You gotta find your level of crazy, right? That can either deal with you or you can deal with them, and you just make it work. But I think the best part about it is coming into it as a friendship. Honestly, that's the best thing you could possibly do because while you're working towards something, you get to see their quips, you get to see their angry side, you get to see their goofy side, you get to see what you want to deal with and what you don't. So I think going into it as a friend first would be more beneficial, but I like to listen to the older folks.
You see, this is where I break because my first marriage is I went the traditional route. Met a girl, texted her, hung out with her. We were obviously building toward a relationship. We both knew that we wanted a relationship from each other. Hi, Nugget. All right, yeah, you can come up here. Anyway, and it didn't work too well in the end. Whereas
Mhm.
my current wife, I met through a video game, and
Mhm.
I was going through some problems after my divorce, and I said, hey, she was going through some problems. Like, would you just like to move in with me? A little bit of companionship because on Wintus's show with Super Producer, they were talking about why people are so interested in getting back into a relationship so soon after one
Mhm.
ends. And it was
Mhm.
definitely that loneliness that was hitting me. And I was just looking for a roommate. Like
Mhm.
my wife, I was more than willing to give her the bed. I was going to take the couch. And a relationship sprung up from that. And here I am a decade. Let me see. August is the ninth month. Yeah. So 1 year, 2 months, and 10 days later. Or sorry, 10 years, 2 months, and 10 days later.
I was about to say, don't let her hear you say that.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey,
my
she doesn't even remember the date that we got married. So I think I'm fine if I mix up a
you
decade
got
in a year. Okay.
it. Okay, you got it. Yes, Mr. Stella, I know where I came from. I know what I need to listen to. I see Miss Sarah. I met my husband in sixth grade. Ooh-wee. At age 12. Mm. I work was my very first love. So he's whatever. We're not going to get into that. We connected 10 years ago as friends, and I have been married going on 9 years. I love to see it. Yes, for the older folks. Yes. So my marriage, we were both on the struggle bus together. And um, I met him, go figure, online when it was up and coming. And I was in Georgia and he was in Florida. Ship stuff happened and we got together. We linked up, lived together after a year. I wanted to come up, and I don't know if y'all know, like Jennings, but you know that Stick Up Kid song where it said he got comfortable at the bottom and wanted to stay there. I
Mm,
didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. So I loved the crap out of being what I was, but it wasn't it for me. So I moved around, and that's okay. It's all right that it don't work. Try again. But like he said, marriage is not for everybody, or the
mm,
two people that you think you're supposed to be with is just a learning experience till you get to who you're supposed to be with. So, it is what it is. But I will say this one piece of information that an older customer of mine, she said, as a wife or a woman in a relationship, don't you ever let the relationship overtake everything. She said, keep your money on the side. If you're in love or if you're not in love, keep your money on the side. Keep your own things on the side just in case that one day comes and you're no longer us anymore. You're just you. She
mm.
said, I have a house with him and I have my own house just in case he get on my nerves one day. I said, that's the kind of information I, what up, baby?
Not like,
How you doing?
so I learned from my first marriage. We intertwined everything. I mean, all the bills were in both of our names. The bank accounts were in both of our names. The cars were in both of our names. Hell, I had a
Mhm.
car before I met her. I had a 2008 Jeep Compass. And what I did is I went to the bank and said, hey, I'm married now. I want to get her on the title for this in case something happens to me. Because, I was staring down the barrel of a deployment at that time.
Mhm.
I was like, I really don't want the bank to come up and litigate and really screw things over for her if I end up eating an IED. Right. So I got her on that. And they're like, well, we'll need a credit check. I'm like, why? My finances haven't changed. I qualified for it on my own. I should have listened to the bank at that point because once everything was eventually combined together, I found out that credit isn't just for buying new things,
Mhm.
it affects
Mhm.
everything. So, now learning the lessons from, I sometimes like to call it my test marriage.
Oh, that's a good one.
Uh,
That's a good one.
So my wife's truck is in both of our names. My truck is in my name. She has her own bank account. I have my own bank account. House is in both of our names. The bills are in my name. Like, we split things up far more evenly. That way, I've been with her for a decade. I don't plan on
Mm,
going nowhere except
that's
for
right.
maybe the grave, right?
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's one of those, in case I somehow fumble and screw up, we don't lose absolutely everything, and it doesn't
Mhm.
impact her nearly as hard as it could. You know?
Yeah. I started doing that towards the end. This I was just about to say. Also, don't let the relationship overtake you in that giving up everything, including self. I was getting there, but you got it. Um, Definitely don't forget that the title wife does not overwhelm who you actually are as a person.
Hmm.
So when you're going through a transition from a relationship to a marriage or a marriage to a divorce, you still are yourself. And most, I don't know, I'm gonna let you talk about the man side, but most women, how you doing, Lasagna? Most women, we lose ourselves so completely when we detach from a person. And that's where our grief comes in because we forgot who we were before we met you because we enveloped you like a parasite. So now it was just you plus a little bit of us. So with that transition, you have to remember who you were on a Tuesday afternoon, when it was raining. You know what I mean? 28 years, congratulations. Sleeping separate.
I mean,
Okay.
that, you know what? I'm not going to take that as all the time, but there are times where I need space. And,
Mhm.
you know, I loved the conversation that Wentus and Super Producer had last Thursday, because I get in my own head. I think we all do.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm very non communicative. I do not talk. I wander around the house quiet as hell. I don't say a thing. If I need something, I do a hand gesture, or, I do it my damn self.
Mhm.
And it's not because I'm angry at her. She just knows that this is a labyrinth and I get lost, right? But, sometimes it is beneficial for me to take the couch.
Okay.
That's her bed. I'm sorry. She went on Amazon. She found that thing specifically for her. I'm not kicking her out of her bed. I went on Amazon. I found that damn couch. That is my damn couch. So I'm going to sleep on it with my dogs. But that's periodically. I still really do enjoy, like, winter, especially when it's cold
Okay.
and the house has got that bite to it before the heater kicks on. Because, yeah, a lot of people got them smart heaters, right? Like,
Mhm.
so it
The
lets
space
the
is
temperature dip a little bit at night when you're not as active and you're under covers. So when you wake up in the morning, it's all frosty. Nah, I'm sitting there snuggled up to my wife. I'm stealing her warmth. I am a parasite. I am a small man. I do not generate a lot of heat, but I will steal it from you.
That's why I was about to say something wrong, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Whatever.
Okay.
Um, that's why you get you a little thicker person like me. I'm gonna point it out there. A thicker man is a very big heat generator.
Mhm.
You know, it's getting cold, and what you need is either an anxiety blanket because the things are heavy and warm, or you get you a
A person that can
that's
generate a
nice.
little bit of heat, a
The
bed
first
heater, if you
generation.
will.
Right, right, right. So to me personally, it feels better when you're up under, but not up underfoot. And there's a difference. So in the bed is a different thing.
Mm.
Cuddles is everything. Everything. No, I'm not, Mr. Pajama, see you playing.
I mean, my wife is she's
Perfect for him.
100% that, and she has I'm not going to say a few extra pounds, because let's face it, where she's at is absolutely perfect for me. She generates heat, and yet she's very active. The second she clocks out of work, she's running around the outside. She likes to mow the yard, do whatever. You know, she will not let me do a lot of the work because, my injuries and disabilities. So I appreciate the shit out of her. And then, when I'm crippled and hurting, and I'm freezing in that bed. She climbs in there with me. I'm like, warm, warm, good, warm. My tactical bed heater.
The first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna put my cold feet on you. I have to warm up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we're moving veering away from the conversation, but I have to warm my feet up if and they're ice cold. So just be prepared. Secondly, it's nothing like laying on a very warm chest that's beating. Sorry, I know that being single is kind of harder. You got like a couple more pillows than you're allotted on your bed, but like when you're married. No, you get your body pillow where I'm supposed to have it when it's time to go night night.
Mm-hmm.
So I can lay on my body pillow that I put experience into so I can go to sleep correctly.
I
That's
mean,
only when you're married though. Like when you're single, you don't get to have that grace. But when you're married,
oh,
I need to right here.
you know, her and I have been cohabitating for 10 years. We've been married since 2019. So we're actually coming up on our 5 year mark here in how many days are in this month?
30.
30?
Hold on.
So 8 days. 8 days we're coming up on our 5 year mark being married. But so while we were cohabitating, just there was always the cuddles as well. And what started off as something funny to say has turned into now a guess it's like an inside joke or whatever. So I'd always come to bed late and she's always curled up on her side. I'd lay down, I lay flat on my back when I first get to bed, though I sleep on my sides. I'd put my arm out and I'd say, "You're doing it wrong." And then she rolls over and right on my chest. And we can stay like that for about 30, 40 minutes till it's time for me to curl over and, sleep in the little ball that I sleep in. Like, cuddles is the best.
We do have our preferences. Yes, we do. Now, in regards to the first thing that we were supposed to talk about, I would love to bring up the topic of, you said, before I say that, you said something along the lines of not being around each other too much.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go back to my marriage. It was more so codependency. So I depended on him for something. I needed to have him there for something. I learned that about myself. And that's okay to say what your weaknesses are, as long as you acknowledge them and like do better with them. So I was codependent with him. And then there was also a limerence about him that I needed to feed off of. That being said, when you're in your 20s, you don't know to do better. But when you're in your 30s, you know what it is, but you know how to apply it better. So when I say that, because when you're in a marriage, you don't want to codepend. You want to be your own entity while with someone. And then you can be addicted to the person that you're with. That is a complete okay feeling to be addicted to them because that's what you want. You want that person in your life. But don't be so attached to a person. And your older folks can correct me if I'm wrong. Don't be so attached that if something happens, your whole world would crumble.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still with that. Like, I've got my hobbies. She has hers. She crochets and reads. We don't have the same taste in books at all. At all. My books are all sci-fi, gore, depression, things like that. We do share some hobbies, like the things hanging on the wall behind me. We go out back and plink cans or have competitions with each other. But I've also got my gaming. I've got my model building, things like that. Like, so even though we live in the same space, we have our own space because I've tried working with her before, and I do mean like having a job at the same place as her. That was too much. That was way too much. I love her, but every second of every day spent with someone is way too much. Like, you find that the small things start to annoy you, or you find where you screw up at work and you hear about it at home, or you screw up at home, you hear about it at work. Sometimes you just need a little bit of space to you.
This is what the older folks call up underfoot. Go on somewhere and get you some business. Because I'm tired. I hate that I have to say this, but sometimes I'll be tired of looking at you. I love you, but you got to go somewhere else, please.
Mm-hmm.
Because either you're gonna feel the wrath of something that you did not deserve, or we're gonna get to bickering. But either way, go and find you some business.
Mm-hmm. That's a big thing. But like before you even start a relationship, you have to be in the right headspace for it, right? Like,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
so if I
Agreed.
am a habitual fuck up and I cannot get my life straight, why am I going to pull someone else into that? Someone
Mm.
else ain't, just the fact that they're there ain't going to fix my life.
Mm-hmm.
Period. End of story. My life is fucked up because I'm fucked up. I need to unfuck myself before I can bring someone else in. And
And that
then
is a
we can work
difference.
on building something from there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But if I'm not in the right headspace, if I'm, you know, say, if I'm broke as a joke, okay. Now, some ladies are fine with the man as he is, but as a man, I like to be able to pay for you. As a man, I like to show that I can be depended on to get things done. I like to show that I can be a provider. Okay. And if I'm begging you for pocket change or for a ride because I can't get my shit together, I don't need to be in a relationship. I need to be hitting up the job applications. That your life has to be in the right place for you to be in a relationship, I think, personally.
These are facts, but things do happen. I have to say, I've seen them. Things do happen, and it's okay as a woman to pick up the slack. You know that at one point he does exactly what he needs to do for you, but things happen. Um, Money gets low, grocery bills get high, and he needs some help, and it's okay for you to help.
Yeah.
If that's the type of man, like some of y'all got egos. A lot of y'all got, most of y'all got egos. So I think the next thing that needs to happen is communication.
Communicating, yeah, is a huge deal.
Oh, I think I lost
If
you.
if you ain't in
Mm.
the type of place where you can effectively
Can y'all hear
communicate.
him?
Oh no.
Okay, I got you back.
Okay. Yeah, if you're not in the right kind of place where you can effectively communicate, like I couldn't really tell what I couldn't tell myself what my feelings were until I was like 24. Okay.
Mm.
So once again, you got to find that right space before you can get into a relationship. You have to be grown up enough to know. And it's fine being in the little kiddie relationships, holding hands or doing whatever
Right,
teenagers do these days.
right,
But I'm talking like a relationship where you're building a life. Getting
right.
into something like that, you know, number one, have a job. Number two, I have to be emotionally secure enough, emotionally intelligent enough to know what my emotions are.
Mm.
I have to God, have my anger or my depression or even my rapturous joy under control.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because just bringing all of that into a relationship, I could really screw things up. Oh, I stubbed my toe. I'm going to go scream at my girlfriend for it. Why? Or, oh, my computer died. I'm going to go sulk and bring down her mood. Why? Or, hey, I won a tournament and I'm so happy. And her uncle just died.
Mm.
Like, nah, bro, you need to go fix yourself. There's a lot that goes into a relationship other than just cohabitating, kissing, and saying I love you.
Right.
And a lot of that is sharing emotions. And if you don't know what you're feeling, or if you don't know how to keep that under control, so you can't communicate that to your partner, you kind of fucked up.
Communication, comprehension. I never thought that I would need a language interpreter when it came to men, or when it came to women. You can say how you're feeling, but if this person does not understand your madness, it's going to go in one ear and out the other. So I need somebody that's going to be bilingual at this point. I can understand what you're saying. You teach me what you're saying. I'm sorry. I can understand what you're saying. I'll teach you what I'm saying, and then we can understand to get our own language together, because it's a lot of miscommunication. And absolutely no comprehension when we're talking to each other. We know how to speak, but we don't know how to interpret what the other person is saying. That's
I
the
get that
downfall.
a lot. Like I used to
That
get
is
that
the
a lot.
downfall.
Now I got lucky, and me and the wife speak the same language.
Perfect.
Like I didn't have to learn. Like I said, that's just me getting lucky.
Mhm.
That there was no searching out there and looking. All right, how does this person feel? How do they tell people how they feel? Oh nope, that's not for me. Now it's just, hey, move on in. Oh, what do you know? I know exactly what's wrong with you the second I walk in the door.
Mm.
Right? Like, ah, shit, she's had a bad day. Okay, pot roast it is. That's how things went in the beginning. Because like the way I do things is cooking.
Mhm.
You have a bad day, I'm going to try to make you happy with some pot roast or some steak or whatever I have on hand. Earlier this week for her, it was grilled lemon pepper chicken. It was Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. She had a bad week. Work was just rough on her. She had 3 or 4 days where she was working alone. Her colleagues were off. I'm like, nah, we're gonna fix this. So lemon pepper chicken and green beans, and then we sat down and watched Pepper Box together. So we were watching like Unsubscribed podcast, Brandon Herrera, just the goofy gun stuff that you usually hear me talk about. She's into as well, and that's how I went about making trying to cheer her up a bit. Her
Mhm.
case, usually what she does for me is she either lets me do some retail therapy. So, she didn't throw a fit
I
when
know
I bought
exactly what
myself.
that is.
She didn't gripe at me when I bought myself 3 cases of these. Or like sometimes I get in my headspace and I have to go work, but I can't do a lot of work. So I'm going to cripple myself more. Before we went live, I told you I've been moving 80-pound bags of cement for the
Right.
past 2 weeks making my forge. What comes with that is a lot of me hobbling around, using my canes, taking a muscle relaxer or two, taking baths, and she helps. She'll help walk me from one end of the house to the other. She helped me strip down and get into the bath yesterday. Help me get out. Help me get into bed. Like she knows that this comes with whatever my headspace is in that day. I have to have a hobby. I have to do something. Sometimes, most of the time, it's a project that requires physical labor that hurts. So she just allows me to do that. Like it is a blessing, really, because I know some folks. Oh, I was gonna build a chicken coop, but the wife she didn't want me doing. Shit, dude, I couldn't live like that. If I'm building a chicken coop, I'm gonna have me some little feathery babies right the hell now.
Do you know how rare that is?
How rare?
Do you
I
know how
mean,
rare that is? You can look at her and just know, and then provide for her what she needed, and then she'll tell you no, and you don't have a fit about it.
yeah, I mean, I think so. A lot of that comes with us being so in tune, but a lot of it also comes with practice. The longer you're with someone, the more you're gonna know them inside and out. My
Mhm.
parents were together for 40 something years before they passed. Um, my dad knew what was going through my mom's head damn near instantly. He could tell her the words that were about to come out of her mouth. She could do the same for him before they even thought the words, like the other would just say the sentence for him. A lot of that is, I think most people have the absolute capacity to fall in love and be with just about anyone.
Mhm.
Uh, it literally, you can take the two biggest opposites in the world and you can put them together. And if you put them together for long enough, feelings develop, and the knowing of each other happens.
Okay.
So when you're bouncing around from partner to partner to partner, which boyfriend, you can't hold a boyfriend for 2 weeks, or you can't hold a girlfriend for a month or whatever. You can't expect to know what they're thinking. You're going to try to take lessons from previous relationships, but they may communicate completely differently.
Right.
You actually have to pay attention to your current partner and realize, like, okay, so Tiffany used to cry and sob when she is upset. Stephanie here, she gets quiet. Or Jasmine over there, she likes to throw things. You know, you can't
Lay
just bring.
hands.
Hmm. Just like guys, and a lot of us, we've been conditioned from a young age to bury our emotions.
Very true. Very true.
So when it's kind of easier for women to get a hold of guys' emotions because it always bubbles up and over into almost a recognizable pattern. When guy's upset, he gets quiet, he gets stoic, he plants himself and starts working through his own head. How did I fuck up? How did I do this? How do I make it better?
We were never taught that. Women were never taught to notice that.
I mean, that's just most guys because
Mhm.
we're told bury our emotions and that's how it comes through. Don't get angry, make it better.
Okay.
So we sit down and how do I make it better? How do I make it? And we don't really understand that we're frustrated. So we get snappy, or we don't understand that we're depressed. So we withdraw. You know, a lot of it is predictable patterns based on societal norms. That's how
Mm.
guys get. I mean, Archie Bunker, growing up watching reruns of God, what was that show with Archie and his high pitched wife on Nick at Night?
Is Alice? Wait, hold on. Oh crap! I know exactly
Hey,
what you're
Chris.
talking about. To the moon, Alice.
No. It was after that. Oh God, give me a
What's
second.
going on, Chris? All in the family?
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you, RJ.
yep. So watching reruns of that or shows of that time period that come later. I mean, hell, even uh, Family Matters. When Mr. Winslow, he'd get upset and the moral of the story always ended up being talk about your emotions, but beginning to middle of the episode, he'd sit there and he'd brood.
For a couple of commercials, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Try to
how
figure it
young
out with the
men,
phone. Right.
that's how our fathers taught us. That's how our mothers taught us. That's what
Hmm.
society taught us. And nothing wrong with that, but at a certain age, you have to grow up and realize that sometimes that's beneficial. Find the problem, isolate the problem, find a solution. Other times, we have to talk about what's going on. Like, hey, honey, I did done fucked up. I don't know how to fix it. Can you help me? And there's a
Um,
lot of those societal norms that impact women too, right?
Absolutely. Um, Number one is always work if we have to. Um, Number one is always work. Work is the main thing that gets our attitudes that y'all catch when we get home, right? We
Mm,
don't want to put it on you. Mostly, I can only speak for myself. I don't want to put the anger on you that a customer has given to me because you didn't deserve that. But I will not talk about the specific customer with you. But in my mind, I'm irritated. So anything you say to me at this point, you're going to catch it. We don't mean to, but it just comes out in that manner. Now, I am a person that keeps things to myself to the point of I'm on the Titanic and the boat and I already went down and I'm just out in the water and that's when I'll call for help. I don't too much express when I'm sinking until I'm already sunk. So women, we keep to ourselves as well because sometimes we have learned it's better to keep things to yourself because nobody's coming for help. That white knight is not coming. The superhero is not coming. You got to do it on your own. So when you get into a relationship that you feel is comfortable for you, you're still in that mindset that even when you're with this person, they're not going to help you. You have to do it on your own.
yeah. And
So
there's one thing I've noticed, like women like to talk about their problems. That's not a problem. You know, like even small things, Stacy posted some bullshit on Facebook. Okay. But us guys, we are geared toward find problem, fix problem. That
mhm.
most of the time the women, women talking to us about their problems, they don't want us to fix it. They want us to listen to it. That is a
Serious.
difference in software. You are running Windows and I am running like Mac right now. I find problem, I fix problem. You send problem, a bug report off. Like
Yeah.
I, I get it. I can't fix
Yeah.
everything. I want to. And you don't want me to fix everything.
Hmm.
You just want to talk about it while you work through it. But us guys, when we hear about a problem, we really want to go get it done. Like if I were to tell Mr. Tommy, my neighbor, hey, I think I'm having some transmission problems, and I just want to vent about my truck. He's going to say, well, let's go take a look at it. And he's going to walk me over here. We're going to go take a look at the transmission on my truck. That's how guys operate. That's where our brains go. If I were to talk to his wife, she would offer helpful suggestions, but it wouldn't be straight to fixing the point. Well, maybe you should call a mechanic, Trevor. Thank you. Thank you.
My smart mouth I had to keep that behind my lips just now.
I mean,
Um,
they're a nice older couple. I love them to death, but that's really how it is. We're pushing once again, guys, right? Like I have 5 acres. I have to mow this. I went and got a push lawnmower because I couldn't afford a ride on. And he goes, well, are you just doing some trimming up here or what? I'm like, well, this is all I got. He heard of problem. He fixed problem instantly. He says, look, I got an old busted up lawnmower. I snapped the frame. If you can fix the frame, it's yours. He heard of problem. He fixed it. I heard problem, frame snapped. I fixed it. I welded it together. And now I've got a riding mower.
I'm going to say that we're mostly 99.9% mental, right? We hear the problem. We want a therapeutic it out. We want a therapy. We want a psychiatrist it out. Okay, well, what happened when you were 3 years old? Because maybe, let's sit and talk about it. You want me to make you some tea? Let's have a conversation. It's not find fix. It's more find, envelop, do the shadow work, and then fix. Like it's going to take some time, but we're talking and I'm thinking that while you're saying what you're saying, okay, let me apply myself in this manner because this triggers him, or this is a problem for him, or this makes him feel in a better mood when he's watching this anime. So let me apply myself in this manner when he feels in these forms, because that's how I know how his emotions come out. So it's a fix for us, but we got to dive down deep into the molecular structure of you to fix it, not just a boom, bam, bam.
Right.
And again, I'm only speaking for myself.
So the way it goes through my mind is for women, watch The View. Hear me out. They
Okay.
talk and talk and talk about a problem. For guys, watch King of the Hill. Watch Hank and his 3 friends stand there, drink a beer. That is the ideal guy relationship. Yep. Talk about something non-important whatsoever. Just, I caught myself a walleye the other day. It must have been 12 inches long. Have a sip of beer. Yep. And you can see that with just about anyone from anywhere in America. The ideal guy relationship, guys hanging out with guys. Usually some lawn chairs outside or on a couch inside, enjoying each other's presence while doing something that has no impact, watching a football game, watching traffic go by, X, Y, and Z. Even if you're not a drinker, you're going to have some sort of drink in your hand. In my case, Red Bull or a liquid death water. But women, all right, sweetie, let's sit down. Let's have some tea. Let's talk this out. Let's go from beginning to end to beginning. And then let's go through every other little branch of this road. That is
Ladies,
at
come
least
on
how
to the
my
front.
mind looks at it. That's where I find the biggest difference between men and women and the way our brains work.
Ladies, if y'all still here, come on to the front. Come on now, I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna address what you just said, and I'm gonna address what Chris just said. Can we pull his comment up?
That one?
That one.
Because his other one
Ladies,
was, oh, wait, no. Yeah, he said, yep, drink beer, yep. I like that one.
that's cool. Lately, let's be honest, some of these women are aggressive and argumentative. Mm. Okay.
And she's about to get aggressive and argumentative. She had to take that breath to calm herself down, buddy. I'm about
The
to get in
reason
trouble.
the reason that we give you aggressive and argumentative is because we have been pushed to that manner. There are a lot of misinformations that have been happening online in regard to the red pill society. So, in order for you not to have misinformation, we're going to address that in the oncoming weeks. We are only aggressive when need be. Okay. I can be the nicest person. I can be a sweetheart, but I can also bite. And I only bite when I'm at work. And I have learned to bite when necessary. Argumentative, when there is something that sounds incorrect, whether it be fact or opinion, is not someone allowed the option to give their own. See, it's a lot of trollers nowadays who like to just give information, whether it be true or not. And you see, I'm trying to hold myself back right now. There's a lot of people that like to give information, whether it be true or not, in the red pill society that likes to cause confusion. So you do have a couple of soldiers in the female form that like to fight against that machine because it's growing. And you can thank Kevin Samuels for that. Okay. We have started a gender war. I'm not even going to say our generation, but there's a gender war out there. So when I hear someone say argumentative and aggressive, I'm going to ask you why you say that. So I'm going to give you a minute. I want to know why you think that women are aggressive and argumentative. Because while y'all are supposed to be the generals, we are the soldiers.
You want me to give you an honest, and this is coming from a place of I've been removed from society quite hard, right? Like
Mhm,
I don't watch mainstream news. I don't, interact with too many humans. I
mhm.
don't do much of that. But from what I've seen, a lot of men becoming more feminine. Uh,
This is the show to talk about it.
and take a look at me. I'm not the biggest guy, right? I'm not some lumberjack, but I do hold on to my masculinity very tightly.
Okay.
Okay. And that doesn't mean that I can't be open or honest with myself or with others.
Mhm, mhm.
But seeing men my age or younger run around just overflowing with feelings like a damn water hose, sometimes that is going to make women, especially in those spheres, especially aggressive and argumentative because the women are the ones having to step up and man up because these men can't do it.
Mm, okay. Okay. And you and I, we can have a conversation back and forth and it'll be all right.
Hmm.
Um, you are absolutely correct. There is something in the air where our genders are switching, right? They're being misplaced. So like I said this somewhere else, but men advertising and walking around with purses and pearls, they accessorize better than we do now.
I mean, hell,
But
I accessorize better than some women, but that's usually, me picking the best hilt to go with my boots for a knife. I'm still
mm,
holding on to my masculinity, mind you, but like, you know, does this hilt go with my knife or with my shirt today? Does it blend in well?
y'all be accessorizing the fuck out the
I mean,
matching
hell,
caps and the matching stones in the ears and the shirt to go with the shoes and the belt gotta shine and the
it's
shoes
about
gotta
time for me to change out my wallet chain or go ahead and
match.
stain it black that way because I don't like the tarnishing on it and it'll go better with my clothes. Like there is an eye to some of this, right? Like
Oh,
But
we
some
know
of
that.
these guys with that accessorizing, it comes out with, oh, I'm going to get these really pretty pearl earrings, or yeah, that's one thing. I get it. You want to be fabulous. You want to look pretty cool, but man up while you're doing it. It is because how are you supposed to attract a young woman, as being a young man who has to be this fucking pretty? How are you supposed to attract a young woman and both of you are confused as to, you know, I don't want to say what role, because let's face it, I come from a non-gender normative household. My wife does the working while I do the crippling, right? But when you are coming into this relationship as a man, but from more of the woman's side, the woman's going to have to come into this relationship from more of the man's side now. And now both of you are confused because you don't know which way's up. That's just going to tailspin, crash, and burn, in my opinion. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
And we're looking. We are absolutely paying attention. Somebody he said my name, so I disagree. Some chicks into that social media reality and think it's cute. I don't. I don't at all. I can't do the Walmart videos with the ratchet and the hollering out in the ghetto. It's there's a time for it, and then there's not a time for it. Or the baddies TV or stuff. I'm not in. No, I'm not into stuff like that. I can't speak on what they do or what other women do, but I don't know too many women who follow what the social media platform is doing because we're older. We're supposed to be the ones that influence, right? So that for me is not how I see femininity at all. That's another thing another conversation we can have. But like you said, the gender norms are changing. But again, that was a social media influence as well. That's when
Mhm.
it caught on that okay, I don't really actually have to be the woman. So
Right.
there's an influence with social media, but that's not the end all be all.
And
I,
I want to hit a
I would
caveat
never
real quick,
go
right?
ahead. Men do it too, but go ahead.
Like gay men still, I know many gay folks, I grew up with several of them, still holding on to their masculinity, still pulling what they want to be pulling, still pulling men, right? So it confuses the hell out of me when some folks are like, "Oh, this is gay culture," and da da. No, no, because I've known several gay guys who hold on to their masculinity, hold on to their gender identity, and continue on and do what they do. But these young men now, it's like us older folk. Well, I'm not older, but you get what I
I
mean.
am.
Being 30 plus, we've forgotten to pass these lessons on to our juniors,
Hmm.
and now all these juniors have is female role models, and they're following these female role models and emulating them. Well, where's a woman supposed to find a man that is going to provide, and if not provide everything, then at least provide his fucking fair share?
Hmm.
Because it takes, the old saying is, it takes a man to build a house, but it takes a woman to run it.
Oh, oh,
So
that was
where are
deep.
these young men now that don't know how to build this life, that don't know how to build this house for a woman to help him keep it organized and keep it right,
You can
for a
say the same
woman
thing
to
about
run
women.
his household?
You can say the same thing about women. They stopped cooking. We stopped teaching them how to cook. We stopped teaching them how to cross their legs at the knee or the ankle. We stopped teaching them how to be ladies. It somewhere along the line it just stopped being taught. It's for the
Yeah.
men and the women at this point.
Yeah. And, as a man, I see these, teens through mid 20s that think it's cute that they don't know how to cook. All right, young man, get your ass in that kitchen and start throwing things on that fire till you make something edible before you not only disappoint yourself, but you disappoint your entire family line.
Mm.
Okay. Because if you can't find a way to just take care of yourself, your family line is going to die out. No woman needs a man to take care of as a child. All things go well. Hopefully, you'll have children with her, but she's not there to date a damn child.
I could have one if I wanted one. I don't want one. I want a man.
Bingo.
However, ladies, get your ass in that kitchen too. It's all right to just know how to do like um, a sandwich here or there, a lasagna, no spaghetti that's played out. Get on Google, get on YouTube, find some of these recipes. Like some of these guys, they're going towards Korean meals now. Learn how to make you some kimbap in the kitchen, some on the giri. Put it on the table for them while they watching an anime. I promise you, they gonna love you.
Or,
Find out.
everything goes great. Have a man in that kitchen with you. Teamwork make the dream work.
Hey,
And,
there it is,
I
man.
really hate these ideas, like, because I'm talking about gender, identities here, but gender roles is something that can be just kind of thrown up, right? Like, I do the cooking in my house.
Hmm.
I do,
It's almost your
uh,
time, is it?
huh?
It's almost your time, is it not?
My time.
Yeah, last year you did Thanksgiving all by yourself.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that. Yes. This year it's just for me and the wife, right? But I do a lot of the cleaning. She does the harder cleaning for sure. You know, so you can take these and set them aside as long as it's something, where it's agreed. Partner A does X, partner B does Y. But if you both can only do Y, what the fuck are you doing? But so young men, learn how to cook. And you know what? Treat your woman to dinner. And if you think it's, oh, that's not masculine, shit, I'll tell you, go watch Binging with Babish on YouTube. How about
Love it.
everyone's favorite, Gordon Ramsay? That man is
Grilling and cooking
masculine
with
as hell,
AB.
and he can make some hell of good meals. Get your head out your ass, you know?
I
Just
know a
like
couple.
I've seen some women carpenters that do amazing jobs. They put me to shame. So don't sit there and say, "Oh well, it's not a woman's job." Fuck you. As long as you can be comfortable with who you are and exude what you feel you need to be, but that isn't, a man running around with pearls and matching earrings and a skirt trying to
Right,
pick up women, right? Like,
right.
bro, you are confusing yourself and everyone around you.
The point being made is that it is okay to do what is necessary to keep the household moving, no matter what that thing is, whether it's cooking, cleaning, taking looking after the kids for a couple hours, or while one of you is at work. It's no longer assigned to a man or a woman. Just get it done. Basically, provide, protect, security, respect. Mm. Our role is still that. Bring something to the table. Mm. My wife and I alternate or cook and clean together. I wouldn't marry a woman who couldn't cook.
And then his follow
And
up.
she wasn't going to marry a man who couldn't cook and get under that hood. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we do still have traditional wantings in marriage, but those wantings are changing when it comes to being married. And now in today's society, when we were younger, we knew what we needed. I was in that kitchen with grandma, auntie, and them. I was
Mm-hmm.
outside with dad and uncle and them. So I
Mm-hmm.
knew both sides, right? Whatever had to be done, it got done because I was making myself learn what each and every person had to do.
Mm-hmm. Like,
Because while, go ahead.
well, my mom worked nights. She was a
Mhm.
nurse. She would work overnight, 7 to 7. Every day, my dad would get up at 6 a.m. He'd be out the door by 7. He was, doing pest control. He'd be home by 5. He would cook dinner so my mom had something, if not warm to eat when she actually had food, at least it was actually cooked and didn't come out of a damn box. On her
Mhm.
days off, I was in the kitchen with her. We were making big meals just like you were with your family. I didn't do too much with cars with my dad, but I learned a lot about power tools, how to build shit, you know, and I pass those lessons on to my daughters. Like, hey, sweetie, I get it that it's not the 1950s no more, and your place is not the kitchen, but you're gonna have to figure out how to feed yourself. And sometimes he may not be able to cook. And you know, to my younger daughter, it was you're gonna have to learn how to swing a damn hammer. There's not always gonna be a man around for you. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean that in the future you won't have a man who can swing a hammer. That's great, fine, and dandy. You're still gonna have to unfuck yourself at some point, though.
Mhm. And that's even leading up to marriage. It doesn't have to
Hmm.
be just marriage. When you in a partnership with somebody, get her done before you. I'm the type of person, before I have to ask, I'll try to do it myself, and then up to, like I said, up to that point, then I'll ask. But it's not just a marriage; it's getting up to that point of marriage where I'm not gonna say prove yourself, and the table thing. Everybody got a table. Let's
Hmm.
be clear. It's not just a man's table; it's a woman's table too.
Hmm.
But I always say this: put your table next to mine and let's eat.
Yeah.
Because
And my
it's not
mom
about what I'm
had
about to put
this.
on yours or what you're about to put on mine. Put them together.
My mom had this amazing rule that I still implement in my house today. The most important person gets served their food first. Now, in my household, to me, the person that, actually goes out and works and, you know, makes things work, that's my wife.
Mhm.
I cook her food and I serve her first. When my kids
Mm,
were living with us, m- give mom her food. All right, now let's plate you two up. And then the person who cooks eats last. You know, that way, if you screw up with portions, guess what? You're going to learn. Thankfully, it's me in the kitchen most of the time. So if I screwed up with portions, I can go without. My kids are still
mhm,
eating, you know.
mhm.
But it's always the most important person in the household eats first. And I've seen a lot of older, folks say the exact same thing, but in their time, it was the man that was going out and doing XYZ, making the housework.
Right,
So he would
right,
get served first.
right.
My house, it kind of got turned upside down. So was my wife. For a little bit of time when I had to live with my in laws, my father in law was getting his plate first because he was putting in 12-hour days at the machine shop, at the mechanic shop. Then came mother in law, wife, kids, myself. And I
It's
think it's a big thing to recognize that in each household as well. And you don't have to be married.
right.
So if you have friends over and your significant other happens to be there, who you serving first? Well, in that case, guest, then your significant other, then you. You always got to treat guests like royalty. I don't know why, but that's just where our minds go. I have to impress these people. It's weird.
Same. It's like a hosting thing. It's like they have to have. Um, my dad said if you learn to do what is needed for your home or make room for Mister Fix It or for the cleanup woman.
That's damn right. No one's going to steal your girl faster than the handyman. No one's going to steal your
Yeah,
husband faster than the cleaning lady.
the maintenance man get all the work.
I mean,
But Miss Cleanup Woman, ooh wee, she dangerous. She's very
especially if she
dangerous.
comes in that French maid outfit.
Okay. Um, yes, and yes. Um, in regards to what's best, what works for you. It doesn't have to be, there's no set of rules. Let's be clear about that. There's no set of rules, but we did learn what are they called? Traditional values,
Hmm.
old school Italian. What the hosting capabilities?
Uh, Either that or the most important person gets their plate first, which
Okay.
I do see that being an Italian thing. Or, yeah, hosting because I tell you, I dated an Italian chick once and her mother gave me food and then gave me more food and then gave me thirds and said, "Oh, you're too skinny." Kept squeezing my cheek like Italian women. If you're a man and you want to gain some weight, date an Italian girl and go to her mother's house. All right. I'm sorry. Like that's a thing.
I, it could be. I don't know. I don't know. But I have a Greek best friend. They'll feed you too.
Mm.
They will.
I
They'll
mean, we're
talk
right
about.
next to each other on the map, Italy and
Yeah,
Greece.
yeah. Their families are family oriented. So, and you don't get that a lot with different cultures. You got the Asians, the Italians, and then you have who else?
I'm about to steal
East
some
Indian.
Asian. Mm.
What
And I'm
now?
about to steal some tricks from Asian community because what I've learned is many Asians who are well off have inside kitchen and outside kitchen. If you're a guest to their house and they cook for you in the inside kitchen, they don't like you. They don't
Oh,
like you. Now, if they have an outside kitchen and they cook you food from the outside kitchen, you guys sit down and eat at the outside kitchen, they like you.
I did not know
So
that.
I'm about to make myself an outside kitchen.
Is that not a barbecue grill?
No, no, these are like coal-fired stoves and ovens, like the whole
Oh,
nine.
so we doing it wrong. Then you can't even come into the house if they don't like you.
Oh no, no, no! If they don't like you, they cook food in the inside kitchen. The outside kitchen is where all the flavors at. You
Okay,
get
so
the
the
smoke
opposite.
from that coal, and then the sesame seed oil mixes so well with it. Or you got the gas stove, which meh, meh.
Okay, so we're doing it wrong. I need to be outside. Okay. Okay.
Next time,
But
I
inside
keep
if
the
I don't
outside
like it.
kitchen.
Okay. All right. So like on the patio, you get the good food, and on the inside, you get frozen dinners. Gotcha.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. My dad and grandpa put the kids first, then the wives, and themselves. It is what works for you. Sometimes my grandmen went to bed hungry and then had to go to work. My grandfather was a GM man. 68 years. He was a GM man. He did the same thing all the way up until he was retired. And he taught me exactly how he wanted his fish fried because he was diabetic. He told me how to gut a chicken and cut it up and do it how he exactly wanted it to be done. So while he came 7 o'clock, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, he'd leave. 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon, he'd come back and he wanted that stability.
Hmm.
So yeah, it is what works for the family because my grandma wasn't about to go in the kitchen. She was very spoiled. She was a GM wife. She wasn't about to do that. So he taught us exactly how what a man should have expected, all the while also making us independent. So I was versatile on
I
both ends,
mean,
on my mom's side
that
and
that
on my dad.
sounds like the older role of the man leading the family,
You said men leaving,
leading.
leading. Okay,
Like
okay.
your grandpa, he had things he wanted done a certain way, or your pop. I think you said is your grandpa, right?
Grandfather,
Yeah,
grandfather.
had
Hmm.
things done he wanted done a certain way. He taught you how to do it.
Hmm.
Chris, his dad and grandpa put the kids first. They led the family like that.
Hmm.
You know, and that's always a positive. As long, and I'm not going to say like men have to lead the family, but as long as the family has a strong head.
A structure, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
if you're just tearing it down once a week or once a year and then building it back up and building it or tearing it down again, them kids ain't gonna have no structure and your life is gonna be fucking chaos.
Mm. Let me tell you. Okay, so I'm gonna say this. My mom was is the only and most independent woman I've ever met in my entire life. So, man or not, stuff was being done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, going out, working, coming back home, getting let's because we haven't talked about the single family home or the independent mothers or fathers. She was the strong head for us. After my grandfather, she just knew that she was going to take over and do what he did. Now, while she didn't walk in his footsteps, I've never seen a more dedicated woman being the most independent woman she could to be for her kids. Now, not to say that men don't do that, but I've only seen her. Now, when you say structure, she did have boyfriends, but she always put her kids first.
Mm-hmm.
Always. She still does that to this day. But I remember seeing her dating, and I don't know why men like ramen noodles the way that they do, but they do. And that was way back when. She was so careful about how she treated his food. Like we would get what we got, which was like our dinner or whatnot. She wasn't the best cook, but she did what she could. And he wanted, I'll never forget this recipe. He wanted ramen noodles with a little bit of pepper and salt and an egg mixed up in the middle. And I saw her carefully put those things together. And I always thought to myself, is this how meticulous I had to be in maintaining my man? I will never forget that about her, because she was so careful about making sure that it was right that she didn't even pay attention. I was on the stairs. I was supposed to be asleep, but I was on the stairs watching her. And that's how it was with my dad's side of the family too. I paid attention.
Like,
So it's the structure can still be there. It just depends on the upbringing of the parent.
as long as it's a strong structure with a strong head, right? Like, I had
Absolutely.
several friends whose mothers were head household. No problem with
Mm,
that. The
mm,
man was still there to provide, support, security, all of that. But the mom controlled that checkbook,
ooh,
and she made the decisions. Dad was fine with that. That's fine, as long as there's no tension. But like, even if you stay in a relationship, but you're constantly fighting for control, or this
mhm.
happens, that you're not going to have a healthy family dynamic, even if it's
Mhm.
just you two. That's not a healthy relationship.
I can't see it. And nowadays, I think when you get to a certain, and I hate to agree with Tyler Perry, but when you get to a certain age, there are certain things that you have hard nose on.
Yeah.
And she is, and she's still that way. She's still that way to this day. I think she downstairs. She ain't said boo diddy bop, but she hear me. Um, she is, absolutely is. I definitely she'll never agree, but I definitely follow after what she does.
I, I I can definitely hard agree on that. There are some things that are hard nose for me. Hard nose. Like, I like my decorations per se kind of sparse, a little bit Spartan, tasteful. But if I'm with someone who has to have like a bookshelf in every corner, a picture up everywhere, even if it's just a stock photo of a kitty, like, nah, nah, this is way too much going on in my life right now. And that's just like one of the simple things. I mean, if I'm, say, if something were to happen, me and the wife break up, whatever, and I'm dating a woman and she pulls up in a Prius, I don't think I'm going to be cool with a Prius. Okay. Like, you could
Okay.
pull up in a Toyota Camry, you could pull up in a Ford Fusion, you could pull up in an itty bitty little bitch car. That's fine. But a Prius, I think that's where my hands go up and I go, nope.
That's a hard no.
That's a hard no.
For me, hard no's are multiple children. Um, I'm good at one or two, three or four is pushing it. 11, no, no,
Astro, possibly. I think they called a special one for tomorrow.
I can't
Percent
even speak.
to, uh, I do believe I'm trying to say your name right, Ashiro. Does council start soon? But yeah, the hard nose, like, for me, no children was a hard no.
Oh,
Mm. My entire life was set up, structured from the beginning to grow up, find a stable job. In my case, that was the army, because fuck, they can't fire you unless you do unspeakable acts, quite literally,
mhm.
right? Um, find a partner, raise children. That was how my life was structured. So no children was a hard no.
It's not for me. I knew that I would have them, but to be added on to what was already there was my hard no. So
Mm,
let me be specific when it comes to that, because all these children already have mothers. All I'm here to do is assist, right at that point. And as you have already gone through, it's a little harder than being their own parent.
yeah.
So um, another hard no for me is anything under what I'm doing is a hard no. I'm not bringing nobody else up. I already did my bringing up. That was he ruined it for everybody else. You have to at least be doing what I'm doing or better. Otherwise, we can have a conversation, but it's a hard no for me to move on after that. Are we not supposed to? Okay. I thought there was something tonight, but I'm not sure. I thought there was something.
Here we go, Ash. I think kids are a deal breaker. Okay. I mean, as long as. So here's a really big thing. Find out what your hard no's, hard yeses are before you enter a relationship, because nothing sucks more for the other person than finding out they just crossed a hard line that neither of you knew about. Like, I have to call off this relationship now because X. Well, shit, we've been together for a couple years. But I think that's going to be my finishing line there. Free, you got anything to close us out here?
Stay warm. Get your teddy bear, or the equivalent. Bring in the next time, because we're going to be back. Bring in the next time some of your older folks' wisdom, and we're going to sit and talk about it. But
Yep.
otherwise, stay warm.
I'm also going to go peruse Reddit and find some easy things to go back and forth on relationships, man side, woman side. But guys, looks like Mickey and Winch's just started filming Flint City Council over on FaceSpace. So if you guys want to pop on over there, we'll be back next week. Thank you guys for making this introductory episode so much fun, and we'll catch you in the next one.